So, have you ever worked with pub-sub patterns in any of your projects? I found them really useful for decoupling components in distributed systems.
Yeah, I've seen it used a couple of times. It seemed pretty effective, especially when different parts of the system don't need to know about each other.
Exactly. You see, the beauty of pub-sub is that publishers just throw messages into topics without caring who's listening. The subscribers then pick up only what they're interested in. Makes scaling much easier and cleaner.
That sounds like it could reduce a lot of headaches when coordinating between services.
Absolutely. And think about real-time applications, chat apps, stock trading platforms. With pub-sub, updates can be pushed out instantly to all relevant clients. Plus, it fits well with cloud-native architectures where services might scale dynamically.
I can imagine how useful that would be for something like notifications in an app.
Right on. Notifications are a classic use case. Imagine if every time someone got a new message or friend request, the server had to individually notify them. With pub-sub, you just publish the event and let the notification service handle subscriptions automatically.
Sounds like it could make debugging a bit tricky though, with so many moving parts not directly connected.
True, but that's why having good logging and monitoring tools is crucial. Each component should log its activity and errors properly so you can trace issues back to specific publishers or subscribers.
Makes sense. It seems like setting up proper observability is key then.
Definitely. And another cool thing about pub-sub is how flexible it is. You can set up durable subscriptions for persistent storage of messages until they're acknowledged by a subscriber. Or non-durable ones where messages are ephemeral and lost if no one picks them up in time.
That flexibility does sound handy depending on the reliability needs of the system.
Oh yeah, and consider fault tolerance too. If a subscriber goes down, it can resume from where it left off once it comes back online thanks to those durable subscriptions. It's like having a built-in retry mechanism without needing to code that logic yourself everywhere.
That could save a lot of development time and effort, definitely.
For sure. Now imagine applying this across microservices architecture. Speaking of which, one of the biggest advantages of pub-sub is how well it handles real-time data processing. When you have streams of data coming in at high velocity, pub-sub allows you to distribute that load efficiently among multiple consumers.
That makes sense. It seems like it could help with scaling out the processing part, without overloading any single component.
Exactly. Real-time analytics, for example, can benefit immensely from this setup. You can have different services subscribing to the same topic and performing different types of analysis or aggregation on the fly.
So each service only processes the data it cares about.
Precisely. And because pub-sub decouples producers from consumers, you can add new services that process data without affecting existing ones. This modularity really helps with maintaining and evolving complex systems.
That sounds very efficient for handling large volumes of real-time data.
Absolutely. Also, think about scenarios where you need low latency. With pub-sub, messages are delivered almost instantaneously once they're published. This immediate availability means that your real-time applications can respond super quickly to events as they happen.
That would be perfect for something like live market data feeds or social media trends tracking.
Exactly. In those kinds of applications, being able to react in near real time is critical. And since pub-sub supports both synchronous and asynchronous communication models, it gives you the flexibility to choose based on your specific performance needs.
It does seem like a versatile solution for a variety of real-time use cases.
Indeed. Another point worth mentioning is that pub-sub can handle backpressure gracefully. If a consumer temporarily slows down due to heavy loads or maintenance, the publisher doesn't get overwhelmed because messages can be buffered until the consumer catches up again. Of course, while pub-sub has many benefits, there are also some disadvantages and limitations we need to consider. For instance, ensuring message delivery can be tricky if you require guaranteed delivery in all cases.
That makes sense. especially if you have transient failures or network issues.
Exactly. With non-durable subscriptions, messages can easily get lost if a consumer isn't available when the message is published. Even with durable subscriptions, managing retries and dead letter queues can become complex.
Managing those edge cases does sound challenging.
Definitely. Another limitation is around ordering guarantees. If you need strict ordering of messages, PubSub might not be the best fit unless you implement additional logic to enforce order, which can add complexity.
I see. Maintaining order across multiple subscribers could indeed be tough.
Right. And let's not forget about increased operational overhead. Setting up and maintaining a robust PubSub infrastructure requires significant effort, especially when it comes to monitoring and troubleshooting distributed systems.
That's true. Keeping track of everything could get complicated fast.
Absolutely. Plus, there's always the issue of increased latency due to the added layers of abstraction and potential network hops between publishers and subscribers. This can be a bottleneck for applications requiring extremely low latency responses.
Latency definitely becomes a concern in high-performance scenarios.
Yes, and finally, security considerations are crucial too. Ensuring that sensitive data is properly encrypted both in transit and at rest, and managing access control lists for topics and subscriptions can add another layer of complexity to your system design. Speaking of which, it's interesting to compare PubSub with other messaging patterns like point-to-point. Have you had experience with point-to-point messaging?
A bit, mostly in older systems. It seems simpler because messages are sent directly from a sender to a receiver.
Exactly. In point-to-point, each message is processed by exactly one consumer, and the queue ensures that only one consumer gets the message at a time. This can be beneficial for scenarios where tasks need to be completed sequentially, or when you want to ensure that every task is handled by one consumer.
That does sound straightforward for certain use cases.
Sure does. However, in contrast to PubSub, where messages can be picked up by multiple subscribers, point-to-point lacks the ability to fan out messages to multiple consumers simultaneously. This means if you need multiple services to act on the same piece of data, you'd have to duplicate the logic or manually wrote messages.
I see. So PubSub offers more flexibility in terms of distributing messages.
Absolutely. But point-to-point has its own advantages. For instance, it provides better guarantees around message delivery and processing order, which can be crucial for workflows where tasks must be executed in a specific sequence.
That makes sense, especially for sequential processes.
Yes, and another aspect is scalability. While both patterns can scale horizontally by adding more instances, point-to-point scales linearly with the number of tasks divided among consumers. In contrast, PubSub scales more flexibly but requires careful management of subscriptions and topics to avoid message duplication or loss.
It sounds like choosing between them depends heavily on the specific requirements of the system.
Exactly right. The choice really hinges on whether you need the simplicity and guaranteed processing of point-to-point, or the flexibility and distribution capabilities of PubSub.ai. Understanding these trade-offs helps in picking the right pattern for your use case.